I would like us to start from the beginning before we actually start talking about the MYP accreditation. So Redhill Middle School, I know you and I chatted about this on many occasions, but when did this begin? When did Redhill decide to have a dedicated middle school?
It was all built around age appropriateness, all right? At which age group should children be in what school? And so, as you know, I moved the grade 1s into the early learning centre because they were just too young to be in a primary school. And we slowly moved our grade 6s and 7s into the middle school, and then we kind of moved the senior kids into grade 10, 11 and 12. Now, if you look at all of those groups, your grade 10, 11s and 12s are really being taught to a large extent how to write that final exam. It's a very different kind of education that they're having to embark upon. Your junior school kids are still very excited about school. You know, I haven't met a grade 4 or grade 5 child who doesn't want to be at school. But the typical grade 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 child, that's the age where they're starting to question who they are, their identity. It takes a very different teacher to engage with that particular age group, and a very, very important part of their lives. Kids from 13 to 16, they need to be in a very safe space.
This particular word, and you're going to find an image.
As we've evolved and as we've changed in education, a lot of times we keep our structures the same. And this gives me the chance as a math educator to just do it not necessarily better, but in a way that matches the student of today.
Just identifying that MYP is not about learning to memorize, it's about learning for understanding.
So then we had 2 triangles.
Redhill was obviously accredited with the DP program. And then you decided, let's now do the middle years program and not the PYP. So why the middle years program?
Okay, so that's a really good question, because why did we go straight away for the diploma program without, having either the PYP or the MYP? And for people who don't know that, this basically, all these programs we're talking about are international programs. And I think, we started off at the top because that was where the need was the most, both from our school board as well as from our parents. They were pushing the school to have an internationally accredited program. The big question was whether we were going to go for the A levels or the Cambridge system, or whether we were going to go for the IB system, the International Baccalaureate. But obviously, once we had that going, we realized that our middle school kids were finding it quite difficult to adapt to the IB program. Because, a lot of schools will have your middle school program where you are learning so many of the things that are going to set you up for the IB DP program. And what I liked about it was that the middle school program also was very internationally minded. It has an outstanding curriculum. And when I say curriculum, its structure is very, very good. And it comes with a lot of training. So one of the big things that we like to do at Redhill is ensure that our teachers are lifelong learners. And it allowed them to start to investigate international curriculum and international mindedness. Where is the rest of the world? And I found that it was very useful for the middle school child, and that would ensure that they would be far more prepared for the DP program, but at the same time, they would still be prepared enough to go into the IEB.
The MYP will benefit our students because it provides international opportunities. This framework is an international framework, and therefore our students can go anywhere in the world and still have the same framework that they're used to here in South Africa. How does your picture of change relate to somebody else's picture of chemistry? How is that connection? Explain that connection to me. How does somebody's picture of a consequence...
The framework that we have adopted from the IB allows the student to experience a holistic education. And by holistic education, I mean the students are exposed to various skills, and those particular skills are assessed. So it allows a child to really experience education.
I think 3 words to describe our NYP process would be enlightening. I think we've learnt a lot along this journey as to what education is and can be. Engaging, we've had to be involved in the process. We've had training, which we then impart in the kids and engage with them. And then I think thirdly is empowering. We've been given the tools to teach and to learn and to be lifelong learners. And I think that's been probably the 3 things that have best encapsulated what the MYP has been.
I do feel that we have learned again that you're never too old to learn something new. The value of support from your colleagues, your family, your friends, and parents. Without that support from our parents, I don't think we would have been able to be so successful. To the children, it meant, especially in the additional languages, that they always have a second chance to improve. And some of the strands that we assess allows for their opinion. There's no right or wrong answer in Afrikaans, so it made them confident. So I think that's meant most to them.
We talk about ourselves as being an international school, deeply rooted in South Africa, but also preparing our kids to make global impacts. It was important for me and for Redhill to ensure that we were benchmarking ourselves internationally and getting our children not to just think locally, but to think internationally as well.
So now that we are accredited with the MYP and we are an MYP World School, what message would you like to give to the middle school staff?
Mahesh, I'd like to say to them that I'm incredibly proud of the effort, because it took a lot. They were learning an entirely new curriculum. So for the effort that they put in, I think for the courage that they actually took to embark upon something that was completely new, time-consuming, a rigorous course that they had to throw themselves into, and they did it very, very willingly. And I'm really incredibly proud of them. I'm incredibly proud of you and your team. You led the entire process. Mr. Maramandi was very, very, instrumental in being part of it. Mrs. Hauptfleisch, without her experience in MYP, we would never have got to where we managed to get to. So I can just say that, I can have a vision of where we need to go, but if it wasn't for your team and your teachers, we would never have got to that point.